The irony of this video is not lost on me. TikTok, an app that's well known for decimating our collective attention spans and capitalizing the rot in brain rot, has spawned a trend that, well, kind of does the opposite. And as I have to take every opportunity to win my dopamine receptors back from Mark Zuckerburg cold dead cyborg hands, I'm jumping on the trend and making a personal curriculum. And sharing how you can too, of course. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I chat shit while I make shit. So if you like making things or background noise while you do your dishes, hit subscribe. So what is this whole curriculum trend anyway? If the concept of a personal curriculum has not graced your timeline yet, allow me to explain. It's exactly what it sounds like. You shouldn't need an explanation. This is why Zuckerberg is winning. No, but really, it is exactly what it sounds like. Similar to a curriculum in school where you have an overall topic with materials like books and lectures structured to help you learn, your personal curriculum aims to do the same thing, except it's tailored to what you actually care about. In a world where we're all little instant gratification gremlins and tools like ChatGPT give us easy access to, well, everything, for the low price of possibly your neural pathways and definitely the environment, it feels like you have to be intentional about expanding your mind and doing things that aren't just sitting and scrolling. From what I can tell, I think the trend originated from Parmesan Princess on TikTok. She's the creator most people credit as their reference, at least. It is linked under references in the video description if you want to go check it out. But for now, let's clock into class. So, how do I make a personal curriculum? First of all, a lot of people were sharing their monthly curriculums, but I'm creating a quarterly one. I'm just setting myself up for success. Like, I work, create content on YouTube and TikTok, I do content creation for businesses too sometimes, plus, you know, friends, boyfriend, cat, other human activity things. Basically, I'm busy and I don't want to try to force an unmanageable learning plan on myself, so yeah, we're spacing it out. Let's start setting up. Step 1, brain dump. I couldn't really find any videos that explained how to create your own structured curriculum, so I just winged it. My first step was to brain dump, and I actually did that on this video's Notion planning page. Hi! I started with 2 categories, things I love learning about and things I love doing / want or plan to do more of. Put a pin in that. My goal with this is just to base my curriculum in reality. In theory, I would love to use my dedicated self-learning time to become more financially literate or learn how to code. But I'd also love to be a millionaire and for tech magnates to stop speedrunning the AI apocalypse. So, you know, we gotta work with what we got. Once my brain was dumped a la 21 era Adele, I selected a few key topics to focus on, split into leisure and learning. Also, remember that pin I asked you to put down next to things I plan to do? This was the missing puzzle piece for me. Step 2, refining ideas into subjects. Now, let me give this creator her flowers because it was her video that actually helped me formulate my curriculum. Her name is Queen Dagmar on TikTok. Again, full video linked in description, you know the deal. But what specifically piqued my attention was the idea of learning around a specific interest or question. Naturally, this makes it a bit easier to organize, like specifically what books you want to read or podcasts you want to listen to, etc, but it also just makes sense for keeping you interested. Especially if you're someone who learns like me, i.e. with sporadic ADHD-ridden crackhead energy. I want to hear it, read it, write it, and do it. And even then, yeah, it's still only a high 40% chance of it sticking. So the next thing I did was take my brain dump and refine it based off what am I trying to achieve or find out through learning more about this. Put another pin in that. Here's what I got. Subject, gardening. Goal 1, to build a tea garden on my balcony. Goal 2, to continue developing a magic system for my book based off plants. Subject, writing. Goal 1, to develop a novel. Goal 2, to develop the habit of writing regularly. Subject, marketing / content creation. Goal 1, to grow my YouTube to 10k and monetize. So, friendly reminder, like and subscribe. And goal 2, to improve my content creation, specifically things like script writing, editing, thumbnails, the whole works. For leisure, I didn't set any goals specifically, but I did make big lists of projects and books to work through. Step 3, finding resources / materials to work through. And step 4, giving myself assessments. To be honest, steps 3 and 4 were pretty simultaneous for me, because sometimes I would find a resource, kind of skim what it was about and set an assessment based on it, but other times I would have the assessment in mind and find a book with the information I'd need. I created 2 lists for resources. things to read, and things to watch. Now, I'm a book girly, so I mostly just found popular books on each subject. Some tips for sourcing materials here. One is just to give things a Google. A ton of curated list articles will normally come up. Read a few of those, see what books keep getting recommended. But my real tip is actually to check out Reddit. I got so many great recommendations from there. Now, while I don't have a ton of free time, my job is administrative, so I can listen to podcasts or passively watch YouTube while I work. So my things to watch lists, they aren't necessarily straight up learning. It could be something more entertaining around the topic too. For example, I'm obviously reading a lot of books about medicinal herbs and building my own tea garden, things like that. So on my watch list, it could be like a tea garden tour or something fun like that. And then for assessments, the principle is simple. I just created assessments that would force me to put what I learned into practice, be that through writing about it or physically doing a project. For example, with gardening, some of my assessments include start an apothecary cabinet, keep my bonsai tree alive for 3 months. Step 5, just start. I'm a big believer in a good enough plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow, so just start. Even if your curriculum isn't perfect or you don't have everything set out, just start with what you've got and you can always keep developing it as you go. Let me not lie, my gardening curriculum is done, I am locked in, same with my writing, but my marketing and better brain pages, they're not fully complete yet. However, am I gonna hold myself up umming and ahhing over that, or am I just gonna work on what I've got while I slowly develop what I haven't? Spoiler alert, it's the second one, how I formatted my curriculum. This is obviously going to be a matter of preference, but I use Notion for my curriculum. One is free, I use it a lot for other things, so it just makes sense. But yeah, I just find it easy to keep track of things. It's also incredibly useful for keeping my watch lists organized, and the to-do function is so useful because you can literally tick resources off as you work through them. My setup so far. You may have noticed the books. I'm a writer. Things just stick better for me if I jot them down. So I got a few notebooks. One is a traveler notebook that's refillable and it holds multiple thin notebooks inside of it. This is my overall learning book because I can have a mini notebook for each topic to keep things semi-organized, and when I change topics, I can just swap the notebooks out. Because gardening is going to be more of a long-term thing, like I love plants. During COVID, I actually made extra money through propagating rare plants. That was a fun little side quest. But yeah, I know that's going to be something that will be ongoing, so I actually bought an entire notebook for that. And then my third book is not to be touched yet, but it's my herb notebook. As I experiment with different medicinal plants and growing them, I want to put my own notes and observations and recipes and stuff in there. I touched on this a little bit before, but no way in hell am I physically buying my entire reading list, and I am not encouraging you to do that either. The books I did buy are reference books, so one has recipes and plant identification and growing information, and the other has instructional illustrations about ongoing bonsai care throughout the seasons. Essentially, they're things I'm going to need to come back to time after time, and that having a physical copy of would just be useful. But that would be a very expensive thing to do for every book, so just remember, libraries exist, audiobooks exist. Even an ebook is usually cheaper. So that's my setup so far. I definitely envision this evolving, especially because I have the book Make It Stick: The Science of Successful Learning on my reading list, which means I might create an updated video in a few months to see how we ended up. Anyways, we shall end at the end. I hope you guys found this somewhat interesting. If you are also creating your own monthly curriculum, tell me about it in the comments because I am nosy. Okay, bye.